Congratulations on 10, Maddie. I mean, that's incredible.
Thank you.
Like, how are you feeling? Like, has it sunk in what you've achieved yet?
Yeah, it's starting to. It was, yeah, I mean, I think lining up, it's one of those things, every race you do, you try not to think about too much of the external stuff. You just race, the race is in front of you, and you know, it is what it is. But I think, you know, that it's one of those ones that you really do want to win because there's that added sort of reason to do it. And it's nice having Lou on the course, knowing that it's her record I'm equaling, and then, you know, seeing her every lap, and obviously she's my biggest supporter. So it's, yeah, it's nice to have her out here for it.
I mean, when you think back to 12, 13-year-old Maddie racing in this for the first time, like, did you ever think that you would be able to, you know, be as good as Louise Sauvage, like your coach now, like the greatest of all time?
Absolutely not. And it was funny because it was, you know, I think because not many people who look like us were in the media at that point. And so I would get told growing up that I could be the next Louise Sauvage, and it was always Lou that was telling me you won't be the next Louise Sauvage, you're going to be the first Madison Rozario. Let's work out what that looks like. And so I think I spent the first half of my career trying to be exactly like Lou, and the second half trying to work out, you know, who I was, you know, outside of that. And yeah, it's nice to kind of be equaling the same records and achieving the same things, but going about it in such different ways.
Yeah, I mean, I heard you saying in, I think, an interview before how Louise was one of the only, like, people that looked like you saw growing up. So it must be so special for you to be able to kind of, like, almost like, yeah, like you said, just kind of be yourself and kind of just encourage the next generation of young wheelchair racers.
Absolutely, and Lou is such a specific kind of athlete. Like, she's so fierce and she's so fiery and she's so competitive, and I find I'm not that. And one of the things that I struggled with in the sport when I was younger was I didn't see anyone who was, I guess, a calmer athlete like I am, and I thought that I had to be something else if I wanted to be successful. And I think knowing that there's so many more athletes now, I figured when I was starting to race, if Ash Barty was playing, I would have had a whole different, less of an identity crisis growing up if there was that kind of those personalities, and it's so exciting to know there are such a wider range of athletes out there.
I think I've chatted to you before about that when I did that long interview with you a few years ago, saying how you were like the sportiest like kid, like your sisters were a bit more sporty than you growing up.
Athletic, this is one of them here, yes. Yeah, they were very competitive, and we'd all play sport together as kids, and I would just tag along. So this was never really the plan, but it's obviously come together.
I mean, at so many events that I've chatted to you now, like at the Matildas I think we were at, and there was just a crowd of people like getting photos with you. Like, have you realised like what kind of, I guess, position you hold in like society?
I think you never get used to it. I think it's always a little bit bizarre, but it's also so exciting to know that that we're seeing Paralympians and we're just seeing athletes, and that there's young kids without disabilities who want to be a Paralympian because they've seen Paralympians on their screens, and that's a massive shift from where it was when I started in the sport, and so it's really exciting. It's so bizarre to, you know, have that experience, but it's unreal. It really is a massive credit to how much as Australians we love this sport and love this movement and get behind it.
Yeah, like I said, like you're kind of, you know, it's so cool that you're like an inspiration to all people, that there are like, I guess, able-bodied like kids that are growing up wanting to be Paralympians because they see how incredible you guys are.
Absolutely, and that's definitely not what it used to be. I think we kind of viewed Paralympic sport as more about disability and less about sport, and that's taken a massive shift in the last few years, and that's, you know, credit to everyone who's covered the sport as well as the athletes, administrators. It's been such a team effort, but it's been such a solid movement here in Australia, and it's exciting to be, you know, at the front of it as it's happening right now.
And last, like I mentioned at the start, you were like 12, you know, when you started racing in this event. And now we're seeing so many just younger girls, you know, competing, but also just watching, which is so cool. It must just be so inspiring to see that there are so many pathways for young girls with disabilities wanting to get into sport.
It's awesome. I was saying earlier on today, I think one of my favourite things about Paralympic sport is because our history is so short. We're kind of in this point in time where our history, our first ever Paralympians are still here, and the future Paralympians are still here. So our history and our future are kind of existing right now in the present, and it's such a unique position to be in, and it won't, you know, it's only going to be here for a finite amount of time, but it means that this culture is so strong, and, you know, our athletes just starting out get such a rich history like at their fingertips, and they have so much access to it, and I think it creates a really wonderful culture and environment, and it's exciting.
Definitely. Well, it's so exciting to see the future of next Paralympians. Thanks so much again.
Thank you.